All right, guys, sorry I couldn't be with you today, but we're going to do something fun. We will finish your parrots when I come back. So we're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to do a spring flower pot. You're going to get a tall, skinny piece of paper like this. First thing you need to do is your name and class code on the back. Okay? And then on the front, you're going to create a flower pot by using one of these three colors. I've got pink, green, and teal. You need to choose one color and get one piece of paper. When a color is gone, you'll have to pick a different color. So it's up to you which one you choose. I'm going to start with pink for mine. Okay. With this pink piece of paper, you are going to fold it in half. Doesn't matter which way. Do the best you can. If it's just struggle for you, ask a neighbor or two to help you, or you can ask your teacher to help you fold it in half. Okay? Make sure you know where the fold edge is. We're going to use this open edge over here. Along this open edge, you're going to take two fingers. See how it's kind of open right there? Take two fingers along the top edge and make just a little dot right over there. See, there's my dot. There's my folded edge. Okay, take a second to double check and make sure that's where you're at. And you're along the open edge of your piece of paper, and you've put a dot about 2 fingers width down from the top. Okay, now you notice how I've turned my paper so it's almost like a book now. So my open edge is over here on the right. At the bottom of my piece of paper down here, I'm going to take 3 fingers now, and I'm going to place them along that edge like that, and I'm going to make another dot down here at the bottom of my paper. Okay, so just to remind you, here's my open edge. It's like a book. Make sure yours is this direction. You've got a dot at the top. That's 2 finger widths from the top. And then you have a dot down here at the bottom that is about 3 finger widths away from your folded edge. Okay, we're going to connect these two dots, hopefully in a straight line. If you need to get a ruler, you can. But remember, it doesn't need to be perfect. Just do the best that you can. Okay, so I've connected my 2 dots. Okay, leaving my paper folded, I'm going to cut in half. Okay, if the teacher will pause the video at this moment and let everybody catch up, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to glue this down and we're going to draw our flowers. So go ahead and pause for just a moment, let people catch up. All right, now that you're back and you've got a flower pot shape here, you're going to glue this down at the bottom edge of your paper. There's the bottom edge, okay? So take your glue bottles and we're gonna put some glue on here. You don't need a ton. We don't need to pour the glue out of the bottle. If it's a little low, ask a neighbor to if you can borrow theirs, or you can turn the glue bottle toward the side and kind of scoop the glue out with your brush. Okay, so I'm putting glue along my 4 corners, and then I'm going to do it once inside. See, mine's kind of low, so I just kind of turn it to the side and I can scoop at the glue a little bit better. And then there's my one in the middle. Okay, so I've got 5 spots of glue. That's all that I need. Okay, I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to put it at the bottom edge of my paper, about in the center, but making sure that the bottom of my flower pot now rests up against the bottom edge of my paper. And then I'm going to glue that down. Okay. The next thing that we're going to add on here is we're going to add on some flowers. Okay. I have another picture here that I want to show you guys. This is kind of where I'm getting my inspiration from. This is going to show you guys some ideas that we're going to do on our flower pot, as well as some fun things you can do with your flowers also. Okay, so this picture had a little bit of fun with doing some perspective work. Notice how some are closer to the front, and some are farther back, but we're not doing that today. We're just making one flower pot. But you'll notice the flower pots themselves have fun designs with them. Okay, so we're going to add on a design to your flower pot, and then we're going to do some flowers. Notice that these are closer so you can see a lot more of the details with them, and then as they get a farther back, they're a little bit more simple. Ours are going to be nice and close, so we're going to kind of have some flowers that have a lot of details going on with them. What supply do you think we're going to end up using? Anybody know? We are going to be using oil pastels for ours, okay? So if you want to pause the video and one of the helpers can help pass out the oil pastels, that would be fine. All right, now that everybody's got a box of oil pastels at your table, remember the boxes look like this, okay? My 5th graders just got done using these for our bubbles. So if you find that you're really low on, say, a dark blue or something like that, you can check at a neighboring table to see if they have a lot. It could be that some of my 5th graders did not put them back in the exact box that I got them out of. So some of them might be a little bit mixed up or a little bit off to the side, but hopefully not, okay? You're gonna choose a few colors, does not matter which ones. I recommend choosing something that you think is going to go with your flower pot. And you're just going to take those and you're going to create an interesting design on your flower pot to make it more interesting and enjoyable to look at. So for me, I've got a lime green here. I'm going to do my line up here at the top. This is going to be the top kind of edge of my flower pot. And I'd like to do some stripes in here. So I'm going to add in some stripes. You can color with them or you can just draw. It's up to you. With these particular ones, we are not going to be rubbing in our oil pastels. What that means though is that since we're not rubbing them in, a lot of that oil pastel is just going to be sitting on top of your paper. Okay, so if you sit there and color forever and ever and ever, making it really, really dark, yeah, you're going to have a lot of mess going on in your hands because it's just going to be sitting there. Okay. Remember, oil pastels are nice because you can put down a good layer of color without spending forever coloring with them, okay? And then I've also got my red here, and with my red, I'm gonna do another pattern underneath. It's up to you what you wanna do. You don't have to do my specific one, but I'm gonna do a half drop pattern. Remember, a half drop pattern is a fancy way of saying scales. And here's how we do a half drop pattern. You start out with a nice wavy line like this, and then you do the same line, only it kind of moves over, so that way your waves are not directly right underneath each other, okay? And then you just kind of fill in as best as you can. So I'm creating scales on my flower pot here. You don't have to do this. Remember, you can do polka dots, you can do stripes, you can do zigzags, you can do splotches of color. It is up to you, but you're going to take this time to make your flower pot look really cool and interesting. Remember, you can blend some colors together by layering colors, but not all colors blend really nicely together. Some colors blend together to make a yummy brown. So be thinking about that when you're doing this. When you're also adding your details on, be careful that you try not to get off the edge of your flower pot. I did hear a little bit on mine. I'm okay with that. But try not to do a ton just because it distracts from it a little bit. Okay? If you want to pause the video and let students do this now, that would be great. All right, everybody's got their flower pot done, or most everybody does. Remember, if you don't, just stop what you're doing, listen to directions, and then you can go back and finish up. If for some reason we don't get these done today, I will give us time to finish working on them next week after you finish painting your parrots. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make the top of our picture very interesting and very full with our flowers. Okay, so you're going to choose your colors that you'd like to have for flowers. I'm going to do a sunflower. I'm going to try to do some other flowers just so you can see some different ways of how to draw different things. I'm going to start with a yellow here for the center of my flower. But remember, we're using oil pastels so you can have a little bit of fun with kind of blending some colors kind of back around and things. So you can make things a little bit interesting. It is up to you. Okay, now I'm going to take a purple and I'm going to make some petals to go with my flower. These petals are going to be pointed. They're just kind of a triangle shape. I make them a little bit pointed, so it's almost like I'm drawing, I guess you could say I'm drawing kind of the top of a raindrop, but I'm not having the bottom of it be rounded like a raindrop is. I'm just drawing that very top part. Okay, so now that I've got my petals, I'm going to go back and I'm going to make things a little bit more interesting. I'm going to add in those veins that all flowers and plant leaves have, how they get water to everything in them and make them pretty and full for us. And then I'm going to go back with my red and add in a little bit more, make it more interesting. Okay. All right, I like that. All right, now I'm going to go in and add in my stem here to my flower pot. And then I'm going to color it in a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to add in some leaves like that. There's my veins that all flower pots have, or flowers have, excuse me. Okay, then I'm going to go and I'm going to add, you don't really see many blue flowers, but we can take some artistic freedom with that if you want to. All right, I'm going to do my light blue, and I'm going to do the center of my flower. I'm going to make some white in here to kind of blend. Ooh, that's kind of a dirty white. It's okay. Blend it in a little bit like that. And then I'm going to take my dark blue, and I'm going to add in some flower petals here. And this one, I'm doing circles. Okay, but that's kind of a very simple flower. So I'm going to kind of do like I did down here with my half drop pattern, and I'm going to go back and add in a second layer of petals. I forget what kind of flower that's kind of called where you have multiple layers. I know some of these flowers are a little bit more popular around late summer and fall. I'm adding in some of those crease lines, those veins that my petals have, okay? And then I'll go back and do my stem. My stem on this one's a little bit short, but that's okay. You can leave it just with that, or you can do, sometimes they'll have where like the flowers turned a little bit and like the leaves will be kind of surrounding the flower. You can do something like that also, okay? And then I'm going to add in a little bit more layering here with mine, and I'm going to do a tulip for my next flower, and I'm going to do a pink tulip for this one. And the best way to do a tulip is where you start out with the letter U. Oops, sorry, you can really see that, the letter U, and then you make the tops of your petals come down like that, and then you go back and add in a third point, okay? And we're going to add in some of ours like that. Maybe I'll do a little bit of purple. I love tulips. Tulips are always one of those flowers that I love, but I've never actually grown because I don't know, there's something about them I can't do. All right, and I'm even going to go back in and add in, what are these, the pistils and the stamens? I can't remember. There we go. Add in some of that as well. Okay, and then I need to add in my stem and maybe some leaves. So I'm going to add in my stem here. Okay. And tulips generally have like their leaves way down here at the bottom. There's not a lot of space for it. So depending on where you put your tulip, if you want to do a tulip, you can add it in there too as well. But I'm just going to leave mine at that. Okay. And just like that, we have a very nice flower pot with some fun flowers kind of hanging out in there. Feel free to go back and add in some more color with them. Really kind of make them interesting and full of color and full of life, just as our flowers are. You don't have to blend, but you can blend a little bit if you want. Oh, I had some blue on mine. That's okay. You can blend some of those colors too. That way they're a little bit more colored in. And then if some of your lines disappear, you can go back and kind of help those out a little bit as well, okay? A very last thing that if you want to, this is totally optional, but if you have some leftover space up here at the top and you'd like to add in a bug or maybe a bumblebee or a butterfly, that is up to you. I'm gonna do a bumblebee for mine. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with, he's gonna be a big bumblebee. I'm gonna start with a raindrop like that, okay? And then there's one wing, and then a second wing, there, and there. And then before I add on my black stripes, I'm gonna go in with my yellow, because remember, oil pastels mix, so if you try to add in yellow on top, you're gonna get some mixing a little bit like what I've got there, which is okay. And then I'm gonna add in my stripes, okay? Give them some antenna like that, and then you can add in the veins for his wing to make him look really cool and see-through. Okay? All right, when you are done with this, and you've got a beautiful spring picture going on here, okay, make sure that your name and class code is on the back like I told you at the beginning, and then you're gonna put this picture on the drying rack because some of you might still have a little bit of glue that's wet from your flower pots down here. So just put your picture on the drying rack, and then you can spend the remainder of class time in free draw. Your teacher will ring the cleanup bell at 5 till time to go, okay? Good luck, and I hope to see you guys next time.